There's no time limit on this video. Ready to get right into it. This is part two of I played every Batman game ever made. This should be fun. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get into some of the good titles like Arkham and all that other stuff.
This one is less of a game and more of a brief interactive story with light puzzle elements, very similar to the Activity Center game, and clearly aimed for a younger audience. The only time you would have caught me playing this game would have been in IT class at primary school trying to avoid how to use a keyboard properly, and instead feeling like a bad man and playing this bad boy. Batman Toxic Chill. If I managed to complete Justice Unbalanced, then you also would have caught me playing this sequel as well. Batman Rise of Sin Tzu. This is basically Spider-Man Friend or Foe, but Batman. Rise of Sin Tzu was apparently meant to be a sequel to Batman Vengeance, but instead of sticking to that game's formula, it shifts to a top-down beat-em-up style with a focus on co-op play. For what it is, I enjoyed it a lot. It brings back that old-school beat-em-up formula that was milked to death in the 90s, and while it has some cool ideas and a great aesthetic, the gameplay starts to feel dull and repetitive after about an hour. I think the lack of depth keeps it from being a true Batman classic. I really wish they had stuck with what worked in Vengeance, because this game completely removes the stealth and detective elements. Instead, you're thrown into wave after wave of soulless, button-mashy combat that loses its charm pretty quickly. That said, Sin Tzu is a great villain. And fun fact, he's one of the very few Batman characters created just for a video game, which I think is cool as hell. And I respect that they tried something new instead of bringing back the Joker again. Oh, and there's also a Game Boy Advance version of this game, which is completely different. Surprisingly, I had a good time with it as well. It's one of the better Batman handheld games for sure. The movement feels smooth, the combat is solid, and the story is decent. Overall, Rise of Sin Tzu isn't bad, but it could have been so much better. The Batman Jakks Pacific TV. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this is a decent game. For those who don't know what a Jakks Pacific TV game is, it's an all-in-one gaming controller that you plug into your TV and play. These were treated like relics back in the day, and although I never got to play this Batman one, I sure as hell would have been grateful if I had it as a kid. Batman Begins. Whenever I see this game, I end up viewing it as an Arkham warm-up. Released for the PlayStation 2, Batman Begins is another movie tie-in game that I have and will always enjoy. Unlike most rushed movie games of this era, this one actually tries to do something different. It focuses on stealth, fear, and intimidation, making enemies practically piss themselves before beating the crap out of them, which is awesome. You're encouraged to use the environment to scare enemies, like smashing pipes, knocking over crates, just generally being a menace, to be honest. My absolute favourite part about this game though, is how they basically gave us Burnout Gotham Edition. There are Batmobile missions where you destroy everything in your path, and it's beautiful. Every time you crash into a car, it also says no casualties, but no, if you're getting hit like this, you are dead. It's basically the opposite of the rest of the game, and I love it. With enough glaze, I could probably encourage you to give this game a go yourself. However, I'll admit it does have its flaws. The combat feels clunky and stiff in most moments. The gameplay is super linear, and here's the real shaker. There are no boss fights, which I thought was a little lame. In my eyes, this is almost a prototype to Arkham Asylum, which we'll be getting to very soon. But let's quickly check out the Game Boy Advance version of the Batman Begins. This is surprisingly a banger. And I know bangers. Instead of trying to shove a watered down version of the console game onto the GBA, this version goes for a side-scrolling stealth action approach. It's got a mix of hand-to-hand combat, gadget use, and sneaky Batman takedowns. It's like a 2D version of what Arkham Asylum will do later on, which is honestly so impressive for a GBA game. Lego Batman, the video game. This is where we separate the boys from the men. Lego Batman is the second most nostalgic game on this list for me. Dare I say, this is one of the best Batman games ever. And if you didn't get a chance to play this as a kid, then I feel sorry for you. Because you missed out on the era where Lego characters didn't have voice actors, so the way they would communicate was by grunting. Unlike LEGO Star Wars or the Indiana Jones games that came before it, both great games by the way, LEGO Batman doesn't just copy the movie, it actually tells its own original story. Part of the game that I thought was super unique and different was getting to play as the villains. Once you complete the hero side of the story, you unlock the villain missions where you can see their perspective on the chaos they caused. It's a cool way to show both sides of the story. If you've played any LEGO game before, you know the drill. Punch everything, solve puzzles, and collect a ridiculous amount of studs. The absolute best and most memorable thing about this game is loading it up and hearing that soundtrack that I can't play because I'll get done for copyright. I could maybe squeeze a second in though. There you go, I hope you got a whiff of nostalgia from that. Lego Batman also had a Nintendo DS port, which is really similar but also very different. It isn't bad, but like every port ever, it's a watered down, simplified version of the console game. The puzzles and combat are still fun, but this time it lacks the co-op, the level design is much smaller, and the missing content makes it feel like an afterthought. If you really wanted to play a portable Lego Batman experience back in the day, it got the job done, but if you had the choice, the console version was the way to go. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. Welcome to the first spotlight game of the video, Batman Arkham Asylum. In 2009, Rocksteady dropped Arkham Asylum, and suddenly Batman had one of the best superhero games ever made. The game starts with Batman personally escorting Joker back to Arkham Asylum, but obviously things don't go as planned. Joker takes over the asylum, releases all the inmates, and basically turns the whole place into one giant death trap. Now the Joker isn't just alone. Harley Quinn, Scarecrow, Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, and Bane all make an appearance, turning Arkham into a villain-infested nightmare. Before Arkham Asylum, Batman games either focused on combat, stealth, or detective work, but this game did all three, and did them perfectly. This game invented the now iconic Batman combat system. It's all about rhythm, counters, and flow, making fights feel goddamn cinematic at times. Other games copied this system for years. Spider-Man PS4 wouldn't have the combat it has without this game. You're not just fighting goons head on. You can stalk them, use gadgets, and take them down one by one. Sadly, I think one of the weaker parts about this game is the Bane and Titan boss fights. I get that they want this juiced up Joker that seems really intimidating and scary to defeat, but I thought this final boss fight was quite a boring approach. That said, the Scarecrow nightmare sequences are just pure art, and are one of the most creative parts about the game. He's messing with Batman's mind and even faking a game crash to mess with the player. Rocksteady had done everything right with this game. They gave us the perfect Batman experience, and while the future games expanded on the formula, this one is still a masterpiece. Batman, the Brave and the Bold. When I first got my Nintendo Wii, I played literally everything I could get my hands on, and Batman the Brave and the Bold was one of those games I was able to play. I distinctively remember loving this game because it had Blue Beetle in it. I just loved that character. But I think this game is a love letter to the animated series. It's focused on a younger audience, hence why I loved it back then, but revisiting it now is still a good and simple adventure. The DS version, on the other hand, is more of a traditional platformer with some Metroidvania elements, focusing on Batman and his gadgets, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just prefer the console version. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to again the next spotlight game of the video, Batman Arkham City. Let's all be honest, we knew this was gonna happen. However, I do think my third spotlight is gonna catch so many of you off guard. In 2011, Rocksteady took everything they built from Arkham Asylum and cranked it up to 11. This wasn't just a sequel, this was an evolution. The game throws you into Arkham City, a lawless, walled-off section of Gotham where the worst criminals roam free. Bruce Wayne gets tossed inside, quickly suits up, and now has to unravel a conspiracy involving Hugo Strange, Joker, and the mysterious Protocol 10. And just like last time, Joker isn't alone. Penguin, Two-Faced, Mr. Freeze, and even lesser known villains like Solomon Grundy make an appearance. This game gave us a whole open world to patrol. The combat is even better than Asylum. More enemy types, more counters, more gadgets. You're taking down goons with pure efficiency at this point. Thugs now actually react to your tactics, making each stealth counter feel so dramatic. One of the best parts about this game is that Rocksteady finally nailed the boss fights. The battle with Mr. Freeze is one of the best in any Batman game, forcing you to feel like the world's greatest detective rather than just punching your way through. The atmosphere of Arkham City is flawless. It gets even better in Arkham Knight's Gotham, but we'll get to that. This city is covered in neon lights, the cold wind blowing through the streets. It feels like stepping into a dark, twisted Batman comic. If Arkham Asylum made you feel like Batman, Arkham City made you live as Batman. It's bigger, bolder, and still one of the greatest superhero games of all time. Whoa, 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 okay, what is happening? Back-to-back spotlight games. No way. Let's just get into it. Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes. This is one of, if not the best Lego game ever made. Before this, Lego games were fun but simple. silent cutscenes, linear levels, no voice acting. LEGO Batman 2 changed everything by introducing a fully open world Gotham, full voice acting, and a DC universe that went beyond Batman. The story kicks off with Lex Luthor and the Joker teaming up to take over Gotham using a powerful energy source. Naturally, Batman and Robin step in, but this time they're not alone. Superman, the Flash, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the Justice League join the fight. Oh, and that moment where Superman arrives with the iconic theme song in the background, it's honestly peak cinema. Even every time you fly as him, you hear the theme song as well. It's just brilliant. The gameplay still has that classic LEGO action platforming, puzzles, character abilities, ton of collectibles, but the open world Gotham is what makes this game special. I spent countless hours running around as the Flash, exploring Joker's theme park, and just having the time of my life. Sure, my opinion is completely biased, but if you played this one as a kid, you already know it was goated. Even the DS version is golden. Yeah, sure, it's nowhere near as good as the console version. It completely ditches the open world and goes straight back to the linear format. But for what it is, still a great game. LEGO Batman didn't just change the LEGO games, it set the standard for all the future LEGO titles. Just an absolute classic. Batman Arkham Origins. This is where things get a little bit controversial. Arkham Origins had big shoes to fill. Rocksteady stepped aside and Warner Bros. Montreal took over and said, let me cook. They gave us a prequel story set on Christmas Eve, where a younger, less refined Batman faces off against 8 assassins hired to kill him. Now let's be real, this game didn't reinvent the wheel. It played almost exactly like Arkham City, with the same combat, traversal and stealth mechanics, but that doesn't mean it's bad. In fact, the story is one of the best in the series. Seeing Batman in his early years, making mistakes, and learning what it really means to be a superhero, that's a fresh take I've really enjoyed. The boss fights in this game are easily some of the best in the Batman Arkham series. The fight against Deathstroke is peak, Bane is actually intimidating this time, and I think my only real negative about this game is how empty the open world is. Arkham Origins may not be as polished as Arkham Asylum or City, but it's a solid entry with one of the best Batman stories. Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate. This is what happens when you take the Arkham formula and try and squeeze it into a 2.5D Metrovania. Released alongside Arkham Origins, this handheld spin-off follows Batman as he investigates a riot Blackgate prison, facing off against the Joker, Penguin and the Black Mask. The combat tries to mimic the free flow system, but in a side-scrolling format it feels stiff and limited. The detective mode and stealth elements are here, but they don't hit the same in this perspective. The Metroidvania style exploration is cool, but the backtracking gets tedious fast, man. It's a decent attempt at bringing Arkham to handhelds, but it lacks the depth and polish of the main games. Batman Arcade. Now this is an arcade game I would have rinsed my mum's purse for. Just pure fun and nothing serious. Destruction everywhere, many deaths. Batman really just snapped here and unleashed everything in his arsenal. LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham. This one is my least favourite purely because it doesn't feel like a Batman game anymore. I would have rathered them call it LEGO Justice League instead. The first hour takes place in the Batcave, but after that, you go beyond Gotham. I mean, it's in the name. It's still a fun game and I enjoyed this one a lot, but it feels like it was doing way too much. 150 playable characters is awesome, but absurd. Removing Gotham City entirely and replacing it with these disconnected hubs was, you know what, it was fine. It wasn't the worst. If you love DC, there's plenty to enjoy here. But compared to LEGO Batman 2, it feels like a step in the wrong direction. Too much spectacle, not enough soul. LEGO Batman 3 for the 3DS. Like LEGO Batman 2 for the DS, this one completely removes the open world again. It's straight level to level, which is, yeah, I guess is understandable. It's such a weaker piece of hardware, but I still feel like they could have pushed the limits with this game a little bit more. Batman Arkham Knight. Okay, here it is. Batman Arkham Knight is a brilliant game. I want to start with the visuals and atmosphere because as a little lad who just got an Xbox One for my birthday, nothing blew my mind more than loading this game up and feeling like I was playing a movie. This time Gotham is a fully open world city and it looks stunning. The rain-soaked streets, neon lights, and insane level of detail makes it feel like a living, breathing Gotham. But the real selling point here, well, I wouldn't really call it a selling point, it's more like a really big part of the game that ended up being cool but not cool. It's the goddamn Batmobile. This thing is fast, destructive, and fun to drive, don't get it twisted. But I think Rocksteady went overboard with it. The game forces you into way too many tank battles. It was cool at first, but blimey, I could not do it again. I hate them missions where you need to sneak up behind the big boys and blast their behinds to defeat them. It just felt long and tedious. However, there is that one mission where this super tank chases you and it's actually fucking terrifying. I felt so tense in this fight because it rides up your ass and is so hard to escape. Anyway, story-wise, this game goes all in on Batman's mental state. Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight lead a full-scale attack on Gotham, and as Batman, you're dealing with the constant hallucination of the Joker, who basically lives in your head the entire game. This Joker twist is brilliant. All of the struggles Batman goes through, to then finally have that moment where he locks him up, is so fantastic. The Arkham Knight twist, not so much. If you've read a single Batman comic, you knew who this was from the very start, and even the game itself makes it predictable as hell that is Red Hood. I don't know, but besides that, this game hands down has the second best traversal mechanics, just shy of Spider-Man 2. Shooting yourself like a rocket never gets old. Dive bombing into this alive city feels exhilarating. I fucking love this game. Batman the Telltale series. I remember playing this game when it came out on PlayStation Plus for that 1 month, and it was good. It was different. I've never played a Telltale game in my life, so it was a nice change of pace. They had a season 2 of this series as well called Batman the Enemy Within, so I'm just going to talk about these two together. In season 1, right off the bat, no pun intended, I'm so funny. This game does something bold. It reimagines Batman's origin. What if the Waynes weren't Gotham's golden family? What if they were just as corrupt as the criminals Batman fights? This twist adds a whole new layer to Bruce's story, making him question everything he stands for. The choices matter, and what action is quick-time event heavy. The detective work and branching storylines keep you invested. Season 2, The Enemy Within, is all about the Joker, but not in the way you'd expect. Instead of being Gotham's most feared villain, he starts as a lost soul who sees Bruce as his only friend. And here's the kicker, your choices will shape whether he becomes the classic Joker or something completely different. I think that is so cool. The Telltale Batman games aren't about gameplay depth, they're about storytelling, and I think they nailed that. The detective work, the choices, the unique takes on the characters, this is one of the most refreshing Batman stories out there. Batman Arkham VR. Looking into the mirror, knowing you are Batman, is a special experience. I'm not the biggest fan of full story VR games, so luckily this one is a very short experience. From the moment you put on the headset, you are Batman. You suit up in the Batcave, toss batarangs, analyze crime scenes, and interact with Gotham in a way that makes you feel like you're actually there. The game leans heavily into detective work, and whilst there's no combat, scanning evidence, piecing together crime scenes, and solving puzzles feels straight out of the Arkham series. My favourite part is just acting like Batman, bro. In the next VR game, I had the time of my life because it's just a lot better than this one. But for the first VR Batman game, this one is still good. Batman Return to Arkham. This is a remaster of both Arkham Asylum and City, which to be honest, I don't think both of them needed one in the first place. Batman Arkham Shadow. So this is where we're at. The final Batman game that came out not so long ago, which is insane because that means it's been like 8 years since we've got a fully new Batman game. However, before we dive into that, you may have noticed I have left out games featuring Batman because, well, they're technically not dedicated Batman games. However, I will talk about some because quite frankly, there are two that I feel like I'm obligated to talk about, and those two are unfortunately Gotham Knights and the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Starting with Gotham Knights, the first gameplay reveal of this game was awesome. Seeing that Mr. Freeze boss fight made it look so promising and fun, but this is a Batman game without Batman and without the Arkham magic. I get it, they're going for something different. The best part of Gotham Knights is the Bat family dynamics. Seeing these four characters struggle to fill Batman's shoes is genuinely compelling. The Court of Owls storyline is a great idea, and some cutscenes really nail the emotional weight of losing Bruce. The city itself is bigger than Arkham's Gotham, but visually lacks in every way compared to Arkham Knight. I think that's an art style issue. Clearly this game is going for that ultra realistic take, almost like how our world looks, which isn't much, especially if you live in the UK like me. I thought this game could have been so much more, but I actually prefer the Suicide Squad game over it. Finding out this game was being made by Rocksteady again had everyone on the edge of their seats. Seeing the Flash corrupted by Brainiac's power was so cool and terrifying in this trailer. I was actually really excited for it. Unfortunately though, expectations were not met. A lot of the missions felt repetitive, I don't enjoy the life service elements at all, and the story had so much potential, yet all the Justice League died and apparently they were clones, so it doesn't even mean anything. I don't know, it's rough. This might be a hot take, but I think a better way they could have done this game, and a much cooler concept, would be to make it a Batman game instead and have him be the one trying to figure out how to stop the Justice League. Batman is a detective, and it would have made more sense to have him be the one to find these cures for each hero, instead of sending in the Suicide Squad and beating the crap out of them until, well, this happens. Yeah, it's safe to say I'm not a fan of these games. Other games featuring Batman are brilliant though, whether that's the Injustice games, DC Universe Online, hot take, but I love the acrobatic choice. Hell, even LEGO Dimensions was an expensive blast. Other games like Multiverses though, yeah, it just doesn't really need explaining. But with that being said, let's play Batman Arkham Shadow.
Where is she? I lurk above the shadows. Justice! Where am I? Good night.
Yeah, so I had so much fun playing this game. I said before that I don't enjoy long story VR games, but this one is the best I've ever played. Being Batman in general is awesome. They really nailed the combat, just constantly giving enemies the beatdown of a lifetime filled me with so much joy. I love how this game also makes it feel like an Arkham game. Tapping your wrist and going into the detective mode makes you feel like you're living in that Arkham universe. The story is good, you know, we got the Rat King and his gang who we basically punch our way through the entire game. A lot of the cutscenes are good and honestly it's just a really impressive game that's been built to have just pure fun. And with that being concluded, Batman is a superhero that's evolved so much over the past 40 years. We went from this to this in a span of 40 minutes covering over 50 video games. Each decade has brought something new to the table, and looking back, it's clear that Batman is one of the greatest superheroes of all time. If you've managed to sit and watch this video to the very end, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. If you'd like to help out the channel, then please consider subscribing, and why not go ahead and watch me play every Spider-Man.
He killed Joker and Penguin. Go back and watch the movies, y'all. He killed them. Unless he's an anti-hero like Deadpool. Okay. Anyways, thank y'all for watching.